Hello, I'm Scott Stewart. It's time for your weekly Main Street Media TV high school football preview show. Join us as we check in on our sports editors and writers from your local newspapers across Middle Tennessee and preview the high school football games covered each week by your local Main Street Media newspaper. To find out how your team did each week, pick up a copy of your local Main Street Media of Tennessee newspaper wherever you are, or you can find your local newspaper online. Either way, you will find complete coverage of the games in your area. To find out if your community is served by Main Street Media of Tennessee newspaper, simply go to mainstreetmediatn.com. And when you find your local newspaper, you can subscribe to the online or traditional paper so you don't miss any of our coverage of local news, sports, events, issues, and more. Well, it's time to get started. David Wilson is in East Middle Tennessee to kick us off.
Everybody, this is David Wilson, East Middle Tennessee Regional Sports Editor for Main Street Preps. Here to give you a quick preview of all the Week 7 games across Wilson and Rutherford County this week as we enter the first week of October. We'll start things off in Wilson County, where it's a full slate of region games on the docket this week. We'll start in Division II Single A in the Middle Region, where Friendship Christian will host DCA on Friday night at Pirtle Field in Lebanon. The Wildcats beat Friendship Christian twice on its home field last year, including a win in the playoffs over the hosting Commanders. So this will be a quote-unquote revenge game for John McNeil and the crew as they host DCA, a fellow team on the east side of Nashville, on Friday night. We'll also stay in Division II Single A, where Franklin Christian will take on Mount Juliet Christian Academy on Friday night. MJCA still looking for its first win of the season. They are 0-6 on the season. In Region 4 3A, it'll be the 4-2 Watertown Purple Tigers, who have won 4 games in a row, traveling to Sequatchie County to take on another 4-2 team in the Sequatchie County Indians. Should be a really good matchup there and a tough road game for Watertown, looking to extend its winning streak to 5 games. They've already clinched a spot in the Class 3A playoffs and have exceeded their win total from last season. Moving to Region 4 6A. The big classification in Wilson County. It'll be all Wilson County matchup on Friday night between Wilson Central, who is 5-1 on its season. They travel to take on the undefeated Lebanon Blue Devils, who are 6-0 for the first time since 1993. Wilson Central running back Chaz Martin is just over 90 yards away from becoming the single season all-time rusher for Wilson Central, with several games to spare, and the season should be a good matchup there at Danny Watkins Stadium. Staying in Region 4 6A, it's the Mount Juliet Golden Bears, fresh off their first win of the season. They will travel to Calvin Short Field on Friday night to take on the Gallatin Green Wave, who are without quarterback Jackson Strop, but will have Kayshawn Barksdale under center, the former Davidson Academy standout. Got the start last week against Station Camp in the Mayor's Cup and absolutely shined for the Green Wave. And then rounding it out in non-district play, it is Glencliff and Green Hill getting together on Friday night on the Hill, which should be a good matchup as well right there. Green Hill off to a good start in region play there, 2-0, picked up wins over Gallatin and Cookeville, and now will round out their final non-region game of the year Friday night in Mount Juliet. In Rutherford County, it's a Region 3 6A affair, between Rockville and Oakland on Friday night. Rockville 3-3 on its season. Oakland 6-0 and 3-0 in region play under Coach Kevin Creasy. They defeated Blackman last week, who dropped to 5-1 and will take on Stewart's Creek, who is 3-2 on Friday night as well. Also staying in Region 3 6A, it's Smyrna taking on Riverdale. Smyrna is 3-3 on its season, 1-2 in region play. Riverdale's 4-2 and 2-1. Its own loss in region action, coming against Blackman. Also in a slate of Rutherford County games, it's Clarksville making the trip down to Siegel. Clarksville, it's 4-2 on their season, taking on 3-3 Siegel. It's another Montgomery County team, Kirkwood, who's 5-1 with their lone loss coming to East Robertson. They travel to take on winless Laverne, who is 0-6. In Division II Single A, it is MTCS taking on 5-1 Clay County. In Single A, it's Moore County 1-4 on its season, taking on 3-3 Eagleville, who's looking to bounce back from a loss to Richland last week. And then finally, it's Community Christian taking on PCA, who is 4-1 on their year, to round out the Rutherford County slate. That'll do it this week on the preview. Looking forward to talking to you guys on the wrap-up next week.
And from David, we'll shoot on over to Blaine Kellar in North Central Middle Tennessee.
Rock Patton and the JP2 Knights look for the upset of their season Friday night, hosting undefeated Grace Christian Academy in Middle Region play. I'm sports editor Blaine Kellar here to preview that game, as well as others in Sumner, Davidson, and Williamson counties, as part of our North Central region for Main Street Preps. Patton's first-year team at JP2 has been a bit inconsistent. The Knights nearly knocked off FRA, which sits in first place in the Middle Region, then fell decidedly to Good Pasture before defeating Father Ryan in the Bishop's Cup. Last week, Grace Christian, the Lions are 6-0, 2-0 in Middle Region play, after most recently defeating Davidson Academy 23-20 in 2 overtimes. That game happens Friday night, as does the rest of the Sumner County schedule, a return to region play for most area teams. The Beach Buccaneers are trending in the right direction, stacking a few wins, including a 42-0 blanking of Hunters Lane on last Friday night. They take on an up-tempo Station Camp offense this week on the road. The Bison started the season 3-0. They are now 3-3, but start region play against the Buccaneers. Hendersonville goes out of league to take on Williamson County opponent Summit in a rematch of the 2021 state semifinals. Gallatin goes up against Mount Juliet. Kayshawn Barksdale, the new quarterback for the Green Wave, looks to go to 2-0 as a starter after a strong first performance against Station Camp in the Mayor's Cup. We mentioned JP2. Liberty Creek, after its first region win of the season, takes on Springfield this week at home. Portland hosts Hunters Lane in region action. Westmoreland takes on Gordonsville in the high-powered Tigers. And White House hosts Greenbrier in a region rivalry that's extended for many years. The Blue Devils have a clear, definitive edge as of late. Adley Pond, the new coach for White House, looks to take advantage of it. That's Sumner County, and a little bit of Davidson, a little bit of Williamson. Here's the full slate for our North Central region, where you can find all of the action on MainStreetPreps.com and in Main Street, Nashville. A couple of Thursday night games, including Ravenwood. The Raptors are going to try to remain unbeaten by taking on Independence. Another Williamson County matchup. Centennial quarterback Mitchell Grandjean and new coach Jay Graham take on second-year Josh Adkins and the Admirals of Franklin. The big-time private school matchup for Friday being MBA and CPA. That should be a fun one between Ingle Martin's team that looks to get right after a really difficult schedule, and the Big Red, which seemingly has found a new stride under Coach Chris Chauvin. Other games, Father Ryan and Lipscomb Academy, we will have coverage of. Again, you can find all of this on MainStreetPreps.com and Main Street Nashville. We hope you catch our coverage. Hope you stick around for the wrap-up show in a few days if you don't get to our stories online or in print. We'll be seeing you.
All right, can you feel the excitement building? I'll tell you what, we'll pause right here for a quick word from our amazing sponsors and come right back with more from the Main Street Media High School Football Preview Show.
He shoots, and he scores!
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
All right, we're going to jump on down to my neck of the woods, which is Southern Middle Tennessee, with Maurice Patton.
Hey, I'm Maurice Patton down here in Southern Middle Tennessee. Week 7 high school football gets started up. Well, before we get into this week's schedule, I want to mention all 3 of our Lawrence County schools are off this week for fall break. So Lawrence County, Loretto, and Summertown are all on break this week. Lucky them. The rest of us got to go this week. Again, starting Thursday night, Independence goes to Ravenwood in a Region 6-6A matchup. The Eagles 3-2 overall, 2-1 in region play. Ravenwood rolling 6-0 overall, 2-0 in the region, with that 2-headed quarterback monster of Femi Babalola and Maverick Chance. Babalola, 2 L's, headed to Boston College. Chance headed to the Naval Academy. Independence will counter with quarterback Matthew Horner, running back Eli Garlington, both coming off big games this past weekend in their win over Franklin in region play. So Thursday night, Independence at Ravenwood, Region 6-6A action. Friday, it's a non-region game, but Region 6-6A participant Summit goes to Hendersonville. Both these teams kind of in unfamiliar positions. The Spartans 1-5, having dropped 5 straight after winning their season opener against Spring Hill. Hendersonville, meanwhile, coming in at 2-3. So both these teams under 500, trying to get some traction here in the second half of the season as Summit goes to Independence on Friday night. Also on Friday night, big Region 4-3A matchup when Giles County goes to Cascade. The Bobcats 2-3 overall, 0-1 in Region 4-3A play, having lost at Watertown about 3 weeks ago. But the Bobcats won their last outing, defeating previously unbeaten Lincoln County. So Giles County trying to get on a little bit of a roll here. The champions out of Wartrace, 3-2 overall, 0-1 in region play. 3-2 with their losses to Summertown and to Sequatchie County in region action. So again, Giles County at Cascade Friday night in a Region 4-3A tilt. In Region 5-1A, Richland hosting Cornersville. The Cornersville Bulldogs coming in at 3-3 overall, 0-2 in the region. Richland 4-2 overall, 1-1 in region play after defeating Eagleville last weekend to get their first Region 5-1A victory. Cornersville has lost its last 3 after starting the season at 3-0, and 2 of those losses have been to Fayetteville and to Eagleville in region play. So again, Cornersville visiting Richland in Region 5-1A action on Friday night. Another non-region game has Pickett County coming to Zion Christian. Pickett County 0-6 on the season. Zion Christian 2-3, having won its last 2 outings. The Eagles defeated Christian Community 2 weeks ago, defeated Innovation Academy last week 28-8. So the Eagles looking at trying to get a 3-game win streak going here on Friday night when Pickett County comes to town. Columbia Academy trying to stop a 5-game skid as the Bulldogs head to Marshall County in a non-region matchup. Again, the Bulldogs 1-5 heading to Lewisburg. Marshall County 3-3 on the season. In Region 5-4A play, Montgomery Central visits Battle Creek. Both are 1-5 on the year. Montgomery Central playing its first Region 5-4A game. Here we go. Battle Creek 0-2 in region action. Montgomery Central comes in having lost its last 3. Battle Creek fell last week to Marshall County big. So Montgomery Central at Battle Creek in Region 5-4A play on Friday night. Columbia Central traveling to Franklin County in a 4-5A matchup on Friday night. The Lions 2-3 overall, 1-0 in Region 4-5A. Franklin County is 1-5 on the season. The Rebels are playing their first Region 4-5A game on Friday night when they host, again, Columbia Central. In Region 5 2A action, Adamsville comes to Mount Pleasant. This might be the biggest game of the season to this point for the host Tigers. Adamsville coming in at 4-1 overall, 1-1 in Region 5 2A. Their one loss on the season and in the region is to undefeated Lewis County. The Panthers went in that one 34-27 back in Week 5. Again, Mount Pleasant 5-1 overall and sitting atop the region along with Lewis County at 3-0. So a big matchup here on Friday night when Adamsville comes to Mount Pleasant. Finally, we got a little Saturday action. At Creekwood, Dixon County will host Spring Hill. Dixon County having some work done on their football facility, unable to host on campus, so Spring Hill will play Dixon County at Creekwood. That's an 11 o'clock kickoff on Saturday morning. The Raiders coming in at 2-3, having won their last two outings at Maplewood and then in region play against Creekwood. So I'm sure they will have some detractors in the stands on Saturday morning. Dixon County, 4-2 on the season, but 1-2 over their last three games. So could be an interesting matchup here. Again, Spring Hill goes to Dixon County. That is an 11 o'clock start on Saturday morning. And if you want to check out who Mostradamus has winning all of these Week 7 matchups, be sure and check him out at Pulaski Citizen, at the Lawrence County Advocate, and at Main Street Murray. I'm Maurice Patton. We'll see y'all next week.
Thank you, Maurice. Calvin White has a great slate of games to tell us about up in Northwest Middle Tennessee. Take it away, Calvin.
Hello, everybody. This is Calvin White, Northwest Regional Sports Editor for Main Street Preps. Here to give you a quick preview of all the Week 7 high school football action in Montgomery, Robertson, and Houston County. We're just past the midway point of the regular season. Almost all teams are in region play, and starting in Montgomery County, we've got two Thursday night matchups, both non-region matchups. Clarksville is at Siegel. Clarksville goes into that one 4-2. They're on a 4-game winning streak after an 0-2 start. Siegel comes in at 3-3. Kirkwood travels to Laverne. Kirkwood 5-1, Laverne 0-6. Kirkwood is absolutely dominated both sides of the ball this season. The Cobras looking to pick up their 6th win of the year. Moving to Friday, Rossview travels to Cane Ridge. Rossview winners of 2 straight after an 0-4 start. West Creek still looking for its first win. The Coyotes come in at 0-6. They travel to McGavock. Both of those teams are still winless in region play, both sitting at the bottom of Region 5 6A. Northeast hosts Henry County. Northeast comes in 2-4. They are also losers of 4 straight, looking to get back on the right track against Henry County. Northwest travels to Creekwood. Northwest coming in at 3-3. Excuse me, 2-2. They will travel to Creekwood, looking for their 3rd win of the year. Montgomery Central gets started in region play with a road trip to Battle Creek. Montgomery Central coming into that one 1-5. Clarksville Academy travels to Ezel Harding. Clarksville Academy also winless in region play. Already played the toughest 2 teams in their region, Nashville Christian and Friendship Christian. So looking to pick up a tough road win over Ezel Harding. And finally, in Montgomery County, Kenwood is hosting Maplewood. Kenwood enters that matchup 3-3. The Knights looking for their 4th win of the year. Moving over to Robertson County, Springfield coming off its first loss of the season against Pearl Cone last week. The Yellow Jackets look to get back to their winning ways with a road trip to Liberty Creek in region play. White House Heritage is hosting Whites Creek and star quarterback Dion Barnes. White House Heritage enters that matchup 4-2. East Robertson is hosting East Hickman. East Robertson coming off a 43-0 win over Hickman County. The Indians are 6-0 to start the season, looking for their 7th win in that one. Greenbrier travels to White House in region play. Greenbrier still looking for its 2nd win after downing Sycamore in Week 2. Joe Burns hosting Red Boiling Springs. Joe Burns coming off a 23-21 loss to Christian Community last week. Running back Kavion Broxton toted the rock 38 times in that one for a little over 200 yards and 2 scores. The Red Devils looking to get back in the win column against Red Boiling Springs. And finally, Innovation Academy is hosting Stewart County. Innovation Academy looking for its second win after downing Lookout Valley 14-13 a couple of weeks ago. And rounding out the Northwest Central region, Houston County is hosting Hickman County this week. The Fighting Irish coming off a 32-7 win over Cornersville last week. That'll do it for all of our Week 7 Northwest preview coverage for high school football. I'm Calvin White. I'll talk to you again soon.
Well, it looks like we're ready for another quick break. But on the other side, we're going to have more amazing high school football game previews for you. We'll be right back.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
When the arena lights dim for a concert, or when the crowd becomes one at a big game, you can almost feel like you're the biggest fan. But who's your biggest fan? It's the person that will get you home safely after a night of drinking. It's the person who looks out for your life to make sure you leave the stadium with someone sober. This could be a designated driver or someone who offers to get you a ride share. Because in Tennessee, fans don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, a division of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security.
Welcome back, and let's jump right back in with Casey Patrick over in West Middle, Tennessee.
Hi, my name is Casey Patrick. I'm the sports reporter for the Dixon Post, Cheatham County Exchange, and the Hickman County Times. I'm going to give you a quick rundown into a few of the games we got coming up this weekend. I've got 3 games for y'all. On Friday night, 2 of them. Creekwood is hosting Northwest. Northwest 2-4 on the season. They're coming off a 31-0 loss to Kenwood. That Creekwood Northwest game is in Charlotte. That'll be Friday at 7 p.m. The other game on Friday is East Hickman at East Robertson. East Robertson, one of the best teams in the entire classification. 6-0 coming off a 43-0 win over Hickman County. The final game, it's a Saturday game. Dixon County is hosting Spring Hill. Spring Hill, of course, is 2-3 coming off a win over Creekwood last week, 42-34. That game will be 11 a.m. Saturday in Charlotte at Red Hawk Stadium. I'll be there. And y'all have a good evening. We'll see you on Friday and Saturday.
Thanks, Casey. And we're going to finish up this week with more from West Middle Tennessee, and that's with Wade Neely.
What's up, folks? Wade Neely here. I'm your sports editor down in Hickman County, Dixon County, and Cheatham County, and it's time for an update on what's to come here in Week 7 across Main Street Prep's coverage areas. It is a big showdown for Hickman County as the Bulldogs had picked up a win 2 weeks ago, but they had a mighty tough task ahead of them, and they fell on the road at East Robertson last week. They got to go on the road again this Friday night as they take on Houston County. The Fighting Irish up in Aaron, Tennessee will welcome our friends from Hickman County. So best of luck to Coach Smith and the Bulldogs. Hopefully they can right the ship as they picked up a little momentum before that tough loss to East Robertson. But spoiler, a lot of teams are going to lose to East Robertson this season as the Indians there are undefeated. Meanwhile, in Cheatham County, we got a trio of games. Only one is at home this week, but we'll start with maybe perhaps the biggest game in terms of your region standings as Sycamore is going to meet Camden Central, a team that I saw last Friday night. Camden ran wild on Cheatham County, and the Lions, despite a sub-500 record, looked pretty good. They took Waverly down to the stretch, and we'll see if Camden is for real. We'll also see if Sycamore can remain unbeaten. They had a massive win at home, 31-30 versus Fairview last Friday. Can they pull their act yet again and go on the road and win a close one? Sycamore's played a lot of tough ones, but this one will be a good game on Friday over in Camden. Meanwhile, I mentioned Cheatham County. They have a huge showdown at home. It's homecoming, and the Cubs need to right the ship as they welcome Waverly, a team that went winless last season, but that team has grown up in a hurry, and Waverly has gotten off to a soaring start this season. So if the Cubs are going to turn around the second half of their season, they will need to do it in a big way at home Friday night versus Waverly. Finally, we close. Talk about a big game. Harpeth picked up a win last Friday versus Stewart County. didn't play their best, according to head coach Charles Moorhead, but they're going to need to probably be at their best when they take on a presumably a little motivated Fairview team. As I mentioned, Fairview fell in a wild game, 31-30, last Friday night up there at Sycamore. And they're going to be determined and motivated coming into this one, I think, on Friday night. So we got Sycamore on the road at Camden. We got Cheatham hosting Waverly. And we have Harpeth on the road at Fairview. That is an update from all of our areas. I'm going to kick it out to the rest of my colleagues here. But for now, Wade Neely saying see you next time.
And that does it for this week's Mainstream Media TV High School Football Preview Show. Just a few notes before we go. Wade and Casey are your broadcast team each week for Main Street Media Radio Thursday night, game of the week. They are traveling to high school stadiums in Middle Tennessee each week, and their broadcasts are scheduled to start each Thursday at 6:45 p.m. This show is just one of several great high school, college, and professional football-based shows that we have for you this season. Find out more and see them all at your local newspaper social media pages, or you can download the Main Street Media TV app to keep up with all our local football and other sports coverage every single day. And make sure to catch weekly Main Street Media TV High School Football Wrap-Up Show with these same sports editors and reporters who are covering your high school teams every week. The Wrap-Up Show is scheduled to drop every Tuesday at 1 p.m. during high school football season. And that's it for another high school football preview show. Get on out and support a team and a newspaper in your area. We'll be right back here next week with the high school football preview show on Main Street Media TV.